Has Otani climbed your list? Not of GOATs, like we all know he's a GOAT in his own right, but just one of your favorite Dodgers? Not best, but like favorite to watch. Like, I have to watch an Otani at bat. Has he climbed to top of the mountain?
He's just how would I compare? Like Jordan, I was obviously younger. Maybe Kobe, right? Kobe was like I'm a Lakers guy, and Kobe was my favorite player. But any chance they were on TV, like, I got to watch Kobe, right? I got to watch him play this game. Shohei, to me, he's must-see TV. Like, even when he strikes out, like, I'm like, I don't care, man. I got to see him. And I'm going to tell this funny story real quick. So I put this on my Instagram. I don't know if you remember this. I caught Reggie Bush's first pitch at a Dodger game last year.
Yes.
And it was a whole surprise and all this stuff with Reg. And I'm downstairs in the, in the cages, right behind the dugout. And I'm in full uniform, dude, full Dodger uniform, full catcher's gear. And I'm sitting there in the hallway, and I'm like 5 minutes before first pitch. And I look to my left, and down the hallway is coming Shohei. I'm by himself. And I'm like, I told my boy, I'm like, holy dude, that's Shohei Otani. And I had this video. We should play it. I had this video. He comes up to me, and he had no clue who I was. Zero clue. He's like, who's this big guy?
Who's this lefty guy?
He just comes up to me, shakes my hand, like nods and smiles, like, hey, nice to meet you, and then just goes up into the dugout. It was like, and I looked at my boy. I'm like, holy, that was Shohei Otani. Just shook my hand.
Taller than you?
We're about to say,
and you're like
I'm pretty tall. I think I'm probably a little taller. He's just thick. He's just a big dude. Like,
so he's like a solid 6'4", maybe 6'3"
he's like 6'4". He's easily 6'4", because I'm like a solid 6'5". He's 6'4", 240. Like, he's got to be. He was big. And I was like, and I looked at my guy, I'm like, dude, that was pretty cool. Like, that was awesome. So yeah, he is. It's must see TV, man. I mean, that's
he's done so much already, and we forget a year ago you and I were barking at each other because it was Yankees Dodgers. He was hurt in that World Series and still had some hits. He didn't win MVP, obviously, but he was not healthy. He wasn't pitching in the World Series last year. He has a real opportunity to rewrite the books, and he's already has done that. But we really will have to rewrite some books if he does what he can do.
I think if he hits well, and obviously we know the game that just happened, and I don't know if he'll ever get to do that again, but if he pitches well and he hits well, whether he's MVP or not, because I see the doubters out there, but like he, in my opinion, will go down already as the greatest baseball player we've ever seen, and the greatest talent that this sport has ever seen by far. So
I agree. Well,
let's go.
If you want more Otani baseball talk, stay tuned, because coming up right now, an A-bomb from A-Rod. Only New Yorkers will get that. Alex Rodriguez joining us. That's the famous radio call, John Sterling. Every time he goes, A-bomb from A-Rod. It became a thing.
This week on Throwbacks, we have an actual GOAT, the legend. This man played 22 seasons in the MLB, accumulating almost 700 home runs. 14-time All-Star. I hope I'm getting all these numbers right, because this is crazy. 10 Silver Sluggers, a couple Golden Gloves, World Championship. He's a World Series champion. He's a girl dad of 2. He is a business leader and now the governor of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lynx. The man who has been cemented in the baseball memories of America, Alex Rodriguez.
Well, man, I need to travel with you, buddy. You're like my agent. You're my feel good.
I'm your hype man.
And you forgot Entourage actor for like 30 seconds with my man Jerry.
That's what I was going to say. We're so excited for the HBO doc, Alex versus A-Rod, but that is not your first appearance on HBO. Your first appearance on HBO is Entourage. What do you even remember from that shoot? Because that must have been wild for you, because you were in season, if I recall.
How atrocious of an actor I am.
No. So
it was fun, though. We had a blast.
So I remember really quickly, we had approached Teixeira about wanting to get you guys on the show. And the word that came back from Teixeira and you was, we're not doing that until we win a ring. Then you guys won a ring. I was at the Regis Philbin show. You guys were there celebrating your ring. And I looked at Teixeira. I'm like, it's time, right? He's like, yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens. I'm like, and it ended up happening, which was huge for us with Entourage. We've always been like indebted to you guys to shoot at Yankee Stadium with Alex Rodriguez was unbelievable for us. So thank you, buddy.
That was you're welcome. And that was such a cool moment. I mean, first of all, coming off winning a title in New York. There's nothing like it. And then you guys had the show for so many years. I mean, you basically were pioneers in the world of that. Everyone feels like you have a show now, but back then that was the show.
Well, speaking of shows too, you're on my favorite show right now because you guys are absolutely killing it with the MLB show, especially now. Obviously, the playoffs are going. You got 4 sports Emmys. You have more Emmys than Entourage ever produced. So, congrats. How has this playoff run been for you guys? And now we're coming to the big day, Friday's first pitch, World Series.
Like, Jerry, this is like the coolest time of the year for me. I honestly, like, I put everything in my life, besides, my loved ones, on pause for the entire month of October, because it takes so much out of us because we're in it every day. And, but, fans like you and Matt that may not watch every single day of every day, you guys tune in for October. And it gives an opportunity to talk about the game that we love so much and really have a little fun. I think you get a little bit of, hopefully, some good information and some good entertainment. And I think the world needs a little bit more laughs, especially before they go to bed at night. And, to be reunited back with 2 great friends with Derek and Big Poppy and Kevin Burkhardt. I mean, I just think the 4 of us work really, really well. And I think we're getting better as we go.
I want to dive into the show a little more because I've gotten to know, obviously, you guys with Fox, and KB's the best. And just briefly on this matchup of, and you've talked about Otani, and it's pretty rare that we're seeing someone like him. You are considered one of the greatest baseball players in my mind and probably millions of people's minds throughout the world. From your perspective on what he's been able to do and what he continues to do, like, I don't want to ask you is he the greatest baseball player of all time, but like, how would you describe what he's been able to do?
Matt, in many ways, you hear the term, if Jerry does a great job, or Matt, you throw 5 touchdowns, someone may say that's a Ruthian feat, right? Going back to Babe Ruth, over 100 years ago. I think this young man is getting to the point where it's like, is this an Otanian feat, right? And really the definition goes above and beyond any sport. It transcends sports. But in many ways, the best player I've ever seen in my life, by a long shot, is Barry Bonds. I mean, he can just do everything on the field. Hardest worker, smartest. I mean, the guy was just a freak.
Yep.
And the best pitcher I ever saw was Roger Clemens, right? 7 Cy Young, just a complete warrior, and played for, 25 years. Otani is a combination of both. And that's the highest compliment I can give. I've never seen anyone like that in my lifetime. And I don't think in our lifetime we'll ever see anything like that again. It's really phenomenal and special what we're seeing.
So when you're prepping for the World Series, one thing, and we'll talk about the doc too, which I saw and I loved, and I'm not going to spoil too much of it because it's coming soon, but you really got the feel of the fact that you are such a baseball historian and a student of the game, and how even like the stories in the doc about how like some guy like Jeter, I think, was like, no, we'll talk baseball after the game. And Alex like, what? What do we talk about then? I got to imagine you're approaching prepping for even, the broadcast show the same way, right? Like, are you looking at Dodgers, Blue Jays, almost approaching like if you were playing?
Yeah. And I'm looking at it like 3-dimensional, right? One is the architect of the team, and like, what are the thoughts of why they put this team together, right? Are they a big market team? Or is it more like David versus Goliath, Brewers versus the, big bad, Dodgers? And how can a team that's spending $150 million beat a team that's spending 500, and kind of explaining that. Then I'm talking about it from I always say the 3 S's, right? A superstar's strategy, storylines, and think about from a manager's point of view, like what are his positions? Because I want to really break it down for the audience at home, saying what are the ramifications if you take a pitcher out in the 3rd inning? How does that affect the 7th or 8th inning? And in a 7-game series, you're playing a team 7 times in 10 days. That never happens in the course of a 6-month season. So again, you have to be able to really play chess, not checkers. And then from a player's perspective, what are they thinking? Who's hot, who's not, and obviously all the X's and O's. But I love to watch, Jerry. So it's not like I have to do something that like, oh my God, you're twisting my arm, I got to watch baseball. Like, I love watching baseball.
I think I remember, Alex, when you first started TV, and again, I'm a lot younger and I've been a fan of yours, and I was a baseball player growing up. and seeing you from early on. And, you know, we have Bardia, we have all this, we have a lot of crossover producers, Jerry, in our world at Fox Sports. So like, we're just like one big intimate family and everybody loves sports. And I remember actually we were in the avocado room a couple times together and just sitting there. And from there to now, like to watch you, it's been really incredible. The knowledge, I think one of my favorite clips is you and Pete Rose, the late Pete Rose, just talking, just talking baseball. Where do you think personally you have grown the most on TV and stuff? Because it is hard. It's different, right? It's a different world than just shooting the shit with your boys and talking baseball. Where do you think, because I think you've become the best on TV talking baseball, where have you grown the most?
Thank you, Matt. You made me feel very old when you said you're a lot younger than me. But you're
me
right.
too, because I'm older than him too, Matt.
I think, look, and I think just to double click on what you said, Matt, which I agree 100%, working at Fox, I mean, it's a public company, but it's ran by like a family. And one of the things they do so well is probably when you were back at USC, right? Like, I feel we're in Fox University and Fox Sports University. And what I mean by that is whether you play basketball, football, baseball, we're all wear the same jersey. We're just kind of in different sports. Yep. And that's what's so cool about Fox. You know, for me, this has been always a very hard transition. I remember, like, life is a set of transition. Like, I went from shortstop to third base. I went from being a baseball player to a businessman. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be on TV broadcasting. I just thought that wasn't for me. But I've worked really hard at it, because what's challenging about television and also fun is you have to be concise with your point. Mm-hmm. Like, some people have great points, but if it takes you 7.5 minutes, it's just not going to work. Or maybe more podcast is a better platform. But live television, you may have 15 seconds to make a really important point. And then how do you articulate your words, not only to explain it well, but to make it digestible for the viewer and make it fun? Like, I'm always thinking about it from the prism of, like, you know, my girls are older now, but like when my daughters were in 3rd grade and 5th grade, can they understand me? Can't. Because in October, you know, just like the big games you have on Saturdays, right? As you get to the end of the season, the audience gets much more wider and they may not be as knowledgeable, right? So you got to make sure you don't lose them. And sometimes I find that too many people threw too many numbers at people. And I'll ask my mom or my daughter, I'm like, yeah, I just turned the channel off, Dad. You putting me to sleep. But if you tell me a story, I'm going to dig in, right? So that's how I've tried to work on it. I got a long ways to go. Long-winded answer to say Bardia is a big key. He's the kind of puppet master that makes. And Bardia Shirey is our, you know, main producer with Kaplan. And we have a wonderful team. And the continuity of it, you know, Kevin and I have been together now for 11 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. 11 years. Wow.
Breakfast might be the most important choice you make all day. That's because at Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast, you could mix and match your very own perfect pairing of our delicious morning favorites.
With this breakfast deal, the choice is all yours. It's not someone else's. And isn't that how it should be? It's your breakfast after all, not Martha's. She can pick her own breakfast. This one's all you.
No matter what you choose, from our sausage biscuit with that grilled breakfast sausage or the egg and cheese biscuit with that fresh cracked grade A egg and melty American cheese on a fluffy buttermilk biscuit, a small size of perfectly seasoned potatoes, or a medium hot coffee to power through the morning. All you got to do is pick your ideal morning pair.
You really can't lose because you're the one calling the shots. The choice is all yours. Wake up to Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast just the way you want it. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. No substitutions. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
You know those days where you start with just a couple of friends and maybe a backyard grill going, and before you know it, you've got the whole crew there, music playing, and the game on? That's a Twisted Tea day.
Twisted Tea is a real brewed iced tea, but with a kick, 5% alcohol. So it actually tastes like the tea you love, just a little bit more fun. It's full of flavor, super refreshing, and smooth because there's no carbonation. That means you can sip it all day while the good times keep rolling. And if you've ever had Twisted Tea at a tailgate, guys, it is a game changer. There's no heavy, bloated feeling, just cold, smooth refreshment that pairs perfectly with burgers, brats, and the pregame buzz in the air. From the first parking lot toast to the last whistle, Twisted Tea keeps the energy up without slowing you down.
So this weekend, keep it smooth, keep it flavorful, keep it twisted. Grab a refreshing Twisted Tea today. Saturdays meant everything back in college. The prep, the crowd, the energy, the food after the win, that feeling, you can still get it today with DoorDash Streaks. Here's how it works. Order every Saturday and you'll build up the savings up to $250 off over the season, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Game day food, drinks, and snacks now, deals later. It's a smart play. And trust me, once that streak hits, you might feel like you're back in the end zone. DoorDash Streaks has fans going full mascot out here. So keep it cool or don't. Just make sure you're ordering on Saturdays and getting rewarded. DoorDash, build up the savings, win every week. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th.
So I'm lucky in the sense where I got to see the documentary Alex versus A-Rod a little early. Maybe it was the HBO help too, but knowing you were coming on, I'm not going to spoil anything. I encourage everyone to watch it. But the first couple of things I thought of that, first of all, it's almost, I thought, you know, here's a guy who doesn't need to do this. Like if you didn't want to do it, you for sure don't have to, but you did. How long did it take you to getting used to, all right, I'm going to tell my story with a camera on me? Did it happen right away, or did you have to kind of warm up to it once you started that process of making the documentary?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jerry. You know, it took me 15 years. And I think 15 years because I don't think emotionally I was ready to like be so raw. And what you saw, I'll give you a little glimpse to your viewers and listeners on the documentary. I think this is a story about a flawed man that happened to play baseball, and therapy saved his life. And Dr. David is a figure that if you see the documentary, you'll understand that in many ways, a part of me died when I got suspended, and it cost me the Hall of Fame, which kind of really sucks. But I have no one to blame but myself. But in many ways, it saved my life because I was able to work on the tools, rewire the brain, and make me, I believe, a better person to be, a better father, a better friend, a better owner, and just a better, just dude,